All right, let's learn tile sets in Godot. So I'm going to be using this Tiny Swords asset pack by Pixel Frog. I'm going to go ahead and download it. And after I download it and extract it, I'm going to right click on this res file, go to open in file manager after right clicking it. And then on the right is my Tiny Swords folder where the extraction is. I'm just going to go into the Tiny Swords folder and then I will shift click all of these and then I'll just drag it into my project, which I already did, like so. And then when you go back into your project, you'll see it all kind of loads in. And we're only going to be playing with the terrain stuff, the terrain folder, which has the ground, the bridge, water, stuff like that. And let's go ahead and get into it. So I created this node 2D game scene, called it game. I'm going to hit Control A and I'm going to look for tile map and I'm going to use tile map layer. This is the new and updated one. Tile map is deprecated. So I will go ahead and click tile map layer and click create. And now you'll notice that we don't have any way to kind of draw on just yet. And that's because over in our inspector, there is the tile set is empty. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this empty, create a new tile set. And you'll see on the bottom, there's a tile set button and a tile map button. So the tile set is where we can just drag our image in and kind of define what we're going to be drawing. And the tile map will actually allow us to draw onto our world. And you'll notice these tools at top. There's a fill, bucket, eyedropper, draw button, and then if you want perfect lines, you can use the line tool. If you want to draw in squares, you can use the rect, and so on. So I'll go ahead and click tile set. You'll notice there's tiles and pattern. We'll click tiles, and I'm just going to drag in this tile map, the floor. So I'll just go ahead and drag this in. It's going to say Atlas texture was modified. Would you like to automatically create tiles in the Atlas? I'll just select yes and see what it comes up with. And now you'll see that our tile maps are already set up with these little squares. And now you're probably asking, how do you paint it? So this paint button is not actually just to paint this directly on, that we're going to be using the tile map in order to actually paint it onto the world. But this paint button is good for properties, which we'll go over in a second. But let's go ahead and I'll just click my tile map. And then you can go ahead and left click any of these and you can actually just start drawing right away. Now, this one probably looks a little ugly because this asset is intended to be used in specific tiles so that it's kind of looping. So I'm going to go ahead and click Control Z, or better yet, we can use the erase tool, which is over here, or shortcut is E. And now you'll see that with the pencil selected, I can go ahead and just drag my mouse over. And let's say you wanted to erase in lines. I'm just going to go ahead and click E again to take off the erase tool. And I'll just draw it like so. And let's say I only wanted to erase a line. Then I could go ahead and click eraser with my E. And then I'll click on this line tool using L. And then I can erase an entire line like so. And if I were to just let go, it'll just erase that line. And yeah. And if you want to erase entire blocks, you can click the rect tool and then just highlight over everything. And that will do the erase. And vice versa, if the erase is off and you do it, it'll just draw everything on like so. And same with the line tool. It can draw perfect lines for you pretty easily. So now you're probably asking, how do you pretty much draw in a big loop? So here is an easy way to do it with this asset. It's going to be different from asset to asset, of course. So let me just go ahead and erase all of this. And while you are in your tile map, you can actually, I'm going to take away the eraser tool, select pencil with D. So you can actually hold mouse click and drag over and just drag as many tiles as you need to. And for me, I'm just going to drag from one corner to the other, not getting these outside edges because these are only going to go at the very end. So now, if I were to, let's say I want to draw a square, let me hover this down a little bit. Actually, let me zoom in because of these little squiggly lines for the grass. You're going to see that these are not perfectly aligned and you can kind of see this line going in the middle, which we don't want. So I'm going to hit Control Z and I can just move my mouse over until it's lined up just like this. And then I can just keep extending it like so. And it's pretty easy to do so with these pixel art graphics. And you can do the same thing like so. And yeah, this looks pretty good to me. And let's say I wanted to draw the edges or these parts right here. I can just go ahead and just select all of them. And I will actually just stuff these onto the sides like so. And after you're done drawing a little map or whatever, instead of clicking the eraser tab with E, you can also hold right click to just simply right click and erase. And you can also hit Control Z, which also shows under scene and undo. And if you accidentally undo too many times, you can hit redo, which is Control Shift Z. So for example, if I go ahead and erase this, I can undo it. And let's say I was like, oh, I actually do want to erase that. Control Shift C will redo that. And now from here, we can actually go ahead and add another layer and act as our water layer. So I can simply just go over to the left under the scene, hit Control A and look for another tile map layer. And I can just nest this in like so. Our upper level is going to be shaded when we click on it's going to be shaded in a darker color when we click on a different tile. So I'll go ahead and call this something like water. And now I can also go to tile set, click new tile set, and I can just go to where it says water and load in our water PNG like so. So I'll just go ahead and hit yes, go to tile map, go to my tile map. I'll make sure all of them are selected and then I'll click this rect to simply just add some water. And you'll see it actually covers our grass away now. We can't even see our grass. And that's because in Godot, the scene closest to the bottom is the one that is going to be visible. So kind of like in Photoshop when you have layers, the one at the top is going to show before everything else. In this case, in Godot, it's the opposite. The scene closer to the bottom is what's going to show first before anything else. So in order to just switch it, I'm just going to unparent the water tile by dragging it onto the game scene, and then I'll just drag it right above the tile map layer. So now we can actually see our tile map grass on our water. So I'll just name this grass like so. And now you'll see our little island on grass. And I can just go ahead, shift click A and add another tile map layer. I actually want this to be between the water and the grass, and this will be the rocks layer. And from here, I'm just gonna left click here in the inspector. I'm gonna go to empty, create a new tile set. And now where it says rocks, I'll just double click on a few of these. I'm looking for very specific ones. Okay. So it's actually under ground. So I'm going to drag in the ground in tiles like so. And I can simply just go ahead and add some base tiles. And now I'll go to tile map and start painting these on. And you'll see that when I paint it over the grass, it's just going to go underneath and above the water because we layered it, because we have put it between our water and grass. So I'll go ahead and try to make it look a little clean. So I'm just going to add rocks up here as an example. All right, and that looks fine to me. So I'm going to hit Control A and add another tile map layer. And this one will go above or right below the water and above the rocks. And this is going to be the water foam. And we'll see in just a second that under the foam tab, we have this foam.png. I'm going to go ahead and select this tile map, new tile set, go to tile set, and then drag foam in like so. And you're basically going to see multiple different foam patterns. And I kind of want these to animate. But instead of highlighting all these little sections by itself, I can simply just have these as one tile. So I'm going to go over to the setup and then erase, and I'll just go ahead and erase everything. I want to erase all of it. And once these are all erased, I can simply merge these into singular tiles. It's going to give you directions here. Hold Control to create multiple tiles. I'm going to make sure the eraser node is off. And now I will just hold Shift over all of these and just let go. And now I'm simply just going to go to tile map and I'll select this and I'll just put this on the water like so. I'm going to go back to tile set, go to select, and then I'll click into this to open this up. I'll leave columns as 4 for now, I think, like so, or 1. But what I can do now is I need to configure the separation. But we actually need to add another frame first. So under frames, I'm going to click add element. I'll select columns to 4 and I'll just try separation X of 4 and I'll click plus. And now you will see that it's slightly animating, but we need to actually fix this up. So with this duration selected, I'm going to click separation a little higher, and 6 is pretty good because that's the amount of distance between these two. And now this water is starting to animate, and I'm simply just going to do the same thing. So I'll click add element. It's going to add this automatically. Click add again until it covers all of them. So I'll click add, and you're going to notice that it's not going to let me add any more if I click add, and that's because we set the columns to 4, which I actually need to set this to 8, like so. I'll hit enter, and then I'll continue adding, add again, add again, add again, and now our water is kind of animating, but the speed is a little slow, so I'm going to try something like 3, maybe 5, maybe 10, and this is probably a little too realistic, a little too fast maybe, so I'll just set it to 5. Like so. Now I can just go to tile map and I can go ahead and when I select one, it'll kind of just select all of them, or it looks like it, but it doesn't really matter which one I select. It'll just go to the first one and I can just go ahead and plop these on in random spots like so. And it probably just looks kind of dumb because I'm just kind of placing it randomly. But when I go ahead and click away, it still looks a little dumb, but it's okay. This would probably be better if you have towers or maybe only close to the island itself. But that does cover the animation part of tile maps. And that's a very basic introduction to tile map layers in Godot. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.